Ever since I was 15, 14, 15, I've secretly dreamed of being able to write metal songs. I say secretly because I never thought I was going to be able to, and I was really embarrassed about mentioning this to anybody. Writing music, real music, that takes a real musician. And I was never that. I was always just a fan, never a music maker. I just wasn't born musical. Or in a musical home. And I was always just really insecure about it. I loved music, but I knew I wasn't part of them. You know? The musical ones. I was practically tone deaf. It wasn't until recently I decided to give it a try. My first sincere attempt. Do you want to hear it?
If you're not a metal fan or don't like instrumental metal music or rock music, feel free to just skip the song entirely, or just this whole video. I won't judge.
Because this is the internet, I'll be the first to admit that A, I'm not a mixer. B, I'm not an engineer. C, I'm not a producer. And D, I'm not a drummer. I'm barely a guitar player. But that's still a real piece of music to me. Sure, it's a mediocre song, admittedly, but it's a real song. It's a real piece of music, and that means something to me. It means I did something the teenager in me thought I was never able to do. It's a middle finger to this story I've told myself my whole life, that this impossible feat of making real music was always within reach. It was actually always within reach. And the only real problem was the narrative I've been feeding myself my whole life. You see, I have this kind of brain that can quite easily, and this is for you music theory nerds out there, that can quite easily remember information pretty okay. Like, let's take the modes of the major scale, for example. C Ionian, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixed Lydian, A Aeolian, and B Locrian. I can remember the shape, the formula for those scales. Like D Dorian would be a flat third and a flat 7. Phrygian would be a flat 2, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. Lydian will be flat 4. I mean raised 4, sorry. Mixed Lydian would be flat 7. Aeolian would be flat 3, flat 6, 7. And Locrian is everything flat but 1 and 4. Anyway, boring music theory stuff. But you see, that information I can do okay with, which I've come to understand that for some people it's really hard. But I never practiced these things before. Not really. Because I was always hiding from the inevitable confrontation with the level at which I was at as a musician. If I did confront it. So I never tried because I was never really part of... It was never part of a realistic version of me and who I could be. Music was always just abstract, floating around in some artistic universe where the rules were either just gotten or not, understood or not. They were without a textbook, and only for the chosen ones. That's what I thought. But then I finally decided to give music theory a chance. I was a good student after all, book smart I guess you would call it. And despite any perceived issues I had with my ear and my relationship to this abstraction called music, it gave me the confidence to at least give it a go. Because I couldn't go wrong if I followed the rules others said were correct. Even if I didn't know right from wrong. What I didn't realize was that if I was slowly practicing these things, composing, and trying these theoretical concepts out that were pretty easy for me to pick up in theory. As I was starting to practice them a little bit, my ears caught on too. I started to realize that our ears can be improved too, greatly, even if we're not born with any tremendous natural ability. Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's not that we weren't born with natural ability or we were or we weren't. It's sometimes that something just doesn't resonate until you hear it the right way. For you, for me. And then it clicks. if a concept can be explained in a way that makes sense to us, to our unique way of thinking and looking at the world, then it can click for us too. It just needs to resonate with you and me, and how we perceive the world, how we think about things, how we learn, how we remember, how we process information and concepts and their relationship. When it clicks, we realize that we weren't lacking in natural ability, we were lacking tools and the confidence to pursue it for various reasons. This is just a long way of saying that the stories we tell ourselves and the limitations we put on our ability to, most often due to fear and insecurity, they can really distort our perception of what we're capable of, what we can do, and greatly exaggerate the risks of going for it or just trying it, if nothing else, but just for the fun of it. Because ultimately, what should matter is how you and me feel while doing it, what we get out of it and why we do it. You can only do you. No one else can do you. No one else can do your art. Don't forget that. And if you don't do it, the world won't have it. And we'd be poorer for it. Until next time. Bye.